Welcome to the Mind Your Movies podcast. I'm Ryan,
I'm Shane.
and today we're talking movies directed by ladies, by women.
Yeah, top five time. That's right. No spoilers this episode, so anyone can listen, get some recommendations for some great movies directed by women. Also, we're a couple of dudes, and when we pick our movies for the podcast, we also most movies have been directed by men in history. So you know what? We figured it was time to shout out the ladies, and I think we got 10 great movies we can talk about, and hopefully recommend to some people.
Yeah, I think this will be a great episode. Partly because we just get to talk about so many different things that it's nice just to have a huge list to recommend to people, right? And whether it's for people to rewatch if they haven't seen it in a while, or just to watch for the first time, I think I imagine that everything we're about to talk about should go high on people's watch list.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So should I start or do you want to start?
Start us off, Shane. What do you got?
All right. My number five. It was hard for me to rank these one through five, but my number five is probably the most popular movie on my list. It's American Psycho, directed by Mary Harron. Starring Christian Bale as Patrick Bateman, the the titular American Psycho. Yeah, absolutely fantastic movie. Great horror movie, great dark comedy, really iconic moments. And this is just a movie I've seen like several times, and I just thoroughly enjoy watching every time. I think it's really well made. Just a great satire of 80s capitalism and also masculinity. I think with our list being about female directors, I think Mary Harron probably brought a unique perspective about sort of how ridiculous this particular archetype of man is. I think nowadays he'd be like a big crypto bro, probably like murdering people while he's like selling Ethereum or something. So yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's about a particular time, a satire of like the 80s and Reagan, sort of Reaganomics capitalism type stuff. But I think it's sort of a something you could apply to humanity through time.
definitely. This was high on my longer list also before cutting stuff down, right? Making our list here, we both have to go through like so many movies and kind
Yeah.
of narrow down that long list into a shorter one and then eventually a top five. But
Yeah.
um, one of the weird things about this movie is it has like following today. Not everyone that likes the movie, obviously, but it has attracted a following that seems to not understand the satire and seems to just like the character,
Yeah, they
which is
they like
fine.
try to relate to Patrick Bateman. It's like a very yeah, that is a very strange thing that has happens to certain
Yeah.
maybe like Wolf of Wall Street would be another one or Fight Club stuff like that, where sort of people take the wrong message from it. But that's okay. I think I get the right message
Oh
from
yeah.
it, so I like the movie. Also, I mean that the business card scene. I couldn't leave it off my
Oh,
top
it's so good.
five for the business card scene. It's just amazing.
It's so good. Also, that apartment. We talked about that apartment actually on
Oh yeah.
our house draft that we did not too long ago, and it's a very even on our we talked about New York movies, and it's a very iconically New York thing too. Like I feel like it fits a lot of interesting genres of or subgenres of stuff, which is cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. Well, my number five is a totally different avenue. I'm picking Turning Red, the Pixar movie from 2022 by Dami Shi. Um, this is it's got some like Pixar love to it. Obviously, I mean, I think Pixar movies just have this like kind of soft softness to them and like heartwarming messages. These heartwarming messages all the time, and I love that. And I think this particularly has some really interesting messages that come from like in part a profoundly feminine perspective, but also can be applied to like really anyone growing up or just coming to terms with identity um, and changing lifestyles and stuff like that. Um, but this one is about if anyone hasn't heard of or seen it yet, this is about um, a young girl going through puberty and also turning into a panda, giant panda. and has to learn how to control her emotions so that she doesn't turn into a panda, and eventually grapple with the idea of if she wants to go through with this ritual that her family wants her to go through of kind of getting rid of that part of her. And so there's some great messages here about like friendship, family, coming of age, growing up, identity, and stuff like this. And yeah, I think it's a really cute, really fun movie. It does have like, I will say, it does have like some more kidsy stuff that I don't think everyone will love in like the middle part of the movie, but it's a blast. I still recommend it, even to people that are just going in for like by themselves, not with like kids or anything. I think it's a great movie for everyone.
Nice. This I have never seen Turning Red, so I'll have to put it on my list and maybe I'll watch it one day.
Nice. Yeah. It's Pixar. So I think most people know if they're going to like a Pixar movie based on the fact that it's Pixar. So it's got that Pixar charm, I think.
Nice. Cool. All right. Well, I don't have anything to say because I haven't seen the movie, so I guess I'll just move on to my number 4. So my number 4 is The Substance. We've already talked about it on the podcast. It's like one of our first episodes of the podcast. But yeah, this movie's like absolutely fantastic. Watching this in the theater was a really great experience. Just sort of the body horror, and this is also kind of a horror / dark comedy. Kind of, it could be compared to American Psycho, I guess. Sort of a similar genre, at least, of like a horror satire almost. But yeah, I think The Substance is I mean, I guess American Psycho is very much about masculinity and a particular male character, and The Substance is a lot more about femininity and women's place in society and whatever, aging and different themes, obviously. But it's also just like an incredible blast. It's like 2 hours 20 minutes, but it flies right by. I thoroughly enjoyed the whole thing. It's just the way it's filmed, the music, everything is so well put together. And I really like Coralie Fargeat, the director. She also did Revenge, which is a really great movie. Probably could have, if this was a longer list, probably would have made my list too. But that's her first movie, and it's really fantastic. So yeah, she's definitely someone that one of my favorite like new directors, people to keep an eye out for. So whatever, I'm excited for whatever she does next.
Yeah, that's awesome. This movie does rock, and it's got some like really amazing practical effects in it, kind of throughout the duration of the movie that kind of build up, and it's just such a blast. It really is. It's like, and it's so meaningful, but it's also entertaining and a little gross at times. But
definitely pretty gross, but gross in a fun kind of a way, to be honest. For the most part, there's like a couple scenes that are just legit pretty gross, but I don't know. It's also, the climax is very entertaining.
Oh yeah, and yeah, it's a great movie, and it's recent too, which is awesome. So
yeah, I looked. My list are all from the 21st century.
Wow.
I mean, American Psycho is from the year 2000, so just barely. And I have another one from 2002. But yeah, there are plenty of great older movies that almost made the list, but didn't quite crack the top 5 for me. But also, it makes sense. I mean, there are a lot more women directing movies in the past 25 years than the 100 years before that.
Definitely. It is interesting, though, because Turning Red was my only 21st century film.
So nice.
It'll be fun crossover. Yeah. And we'll have a nice variety in time period, too, which is cool. Speaking of my next one, my number 4 on my list is The Matrix, which I just rewatched. Nice. I was debating about whether or not to talk about this one. One of the things is it's such an iconic movie that I was thinking to myself, is it worth recommending to people? So I kind of wanted to rewatch it and be like, in my perspective, is it worth rewatching with this lens of like identity and stuff like that? And I think it definitely is. It's made by the Wachowski sisters, and they're both trans women who have talked about their experience making films as trans women and incorporating like trans identity into movies before. So watching this like with that perspective was really interesting to identify kind of more themes than I had the first time. I think it's been a while since I've seen this movie, and I don't think I was necessarily plucking out themes about identity all the time at the time. But definitely a lot of interesting themes. Also, it's just so iconic in the action genre. It's like things like John Wick and like even like Nobody, like right, Nobody 2 is coming out pretty soon. All this stuff definitely borrows, everything still borrows from the Matrix in a way.
Oh yeah, incredibly influential movie, and yeah, it's kind of interesting because they were both, like in the closet, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, they're credited in the movie as the Wachowski brothers. I believe that's what they went as all the way through the Matrix trilogy, uh, until I forget if it was Lana. No, I think Lana came out first, and then Lily came out later. But anyway, so it's kind of interesting that this was made before anyone knew they were transgender, and it's very much before that was a more mainstream thing that people know about. I feel like
Right.
in the 90s, like most people wouldn't even know what that would mean.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, this is a movie that I loved, and there are a lot of themes uh in it, obviously, and it's fascinating and like very philosophical and everything, and also it's very entertaining and has great action, so it's entertaining and interesting on multiple levels. But yeah, I also have seen people there. I think I forget the person's name, but there is like a transgender critic. I saw a talk that this person gave about the Matrix and interpreting it as like a transgender allegory, and it's pretty fascinating. So I would definitely like that's just an interesting way to look at the movie.
Yeah.
And also, there's another movie that people have taken like the wrong way, and like obviously, Red Pill is like a infamous thing, and it's just people kind of applying their own ideology onto the Matrix. That was obviously not intended. And then the Matrix Resurrections is sort of a commentary on that to some degree. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the Matrix. Did not make my top five. Part of it is because it's like such a popular movie that I felt like but also I picked American Psycho, which is also a pretty popular movie. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only five spots. What can I say?
Yeah. No, but I felt similar. I was like, do I want to include this? Like, it is so iconic and like, you know, influential and like everyone knows the Matrix, right? But I do think, I mean, the reason I ended up including it is because I do think, like you were saying, right? I think it is worth going back with that lens of like, if you haven't thought about it in that way before, right? Watch the movie again, you'll notice these things about like, obviously there's the things about like fighting against an oppressive system, right? And something that's working against you. But there's also all these things about like, paranoia. And if you try to be the person you're supposed to be, like people around you might turn against you and all this stuff. And how do you fight back against that? And it's really powerful in that way too. So
Yeah, definitely.
definitely.
And with the transgender interpretation, like the red pill and the blue pill can be seen as like hormone therapy pills and stuff like that. So it is definitely interesting. And kind of another factor in this is that I don't think in 1999, if it was two like sisters at the time, I don't think they would have been able to make a huge budget action movie. Like how many probably worth tens of millions of dollars in budget, and like, but at the time they were presenting as the Wachowski brothers, and but they were able to put these interesting themes in there, like kind of bake it in, and then now you can look back on it and realize sort of what they were going for in certain different ways. Um, but yeah, that is kind of another factor where I don't know. Anyway, I don't think
Yeah.
they would have had the budget if they were out or if they were just cisgender women. I don't
Right.
think they would have been able to make this movie.
Right. And I think that's like a huge shame. And like it goes back to what you were saying about like in this past 2.5 decades, we've moved a lot more forward in a way where uh, really anyone can now take up the art of cinema and make a movie. Obviously, there's still monetary and geographical restraints to that. Like, it's still not an equal or equitable world necessarily, but at least in
Yeah,
terms of like gender and identity, people can kind of still make movies.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, and when I say that they couldn't have made the movie, I just meant the studio
Yeah,
wouldn't have given them the money. I didn't mean that they
right.
literally couldn't make the movie.
Exactly. Yeah, they're the same creative people as they were.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, great fucking movie. So good pick. I guess that's on to my number three.
Yeah.
All right, my number three is a documentary from 2016. It's called Camera Person. It's directed by Kirsten Johnson, and yeah, she is a she's a camera person. She's a cinematographer who shot a lot of documentaries, sort of in like the maybe 20 or 30 years before this movie, and she uses a lot of footage from movies that she shot or from her travels around the world. Like there's footage from, you know, uh, all different times in her life and all different places in the world where she shot documentaries. And she sort of puts it together in this very personal sort of memoir type of a movie. And it's really, really fantastic. Uh, Pretty unique experience of like a way to watch a movie, maybe sort of inspired by Chris Marker, I feel like, with this sort of like sort of essay, not sort of essay like, but personal, um sort of vibey, like giving you the experience of what it was like at different times in this person's life. It's a pretty fascinating movie, and I wanted to recommend it because when it came out, I mean, I don't know, it's people know it, I guess, but it's a lot less well known than like American Psycho or The Matrix, you know. But yeah, really fantastic documentary that I would highly recommend.
Nice. That seems awesome. Sounds like a really cool watch. And it looks like it's on HBO Max potentially. So I might have to check it out.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's a pretty cool experience. Uh, yeah, it gets heavy at different times in the movie, like em- emotionally heavy, I guess. So I guess know that going in, but I think it's a really great experience and a great movie. Just also from the perspective of just cinema and seeing all this footage and uh, yeah, I don't know, pretty great movie. I haven't seen it in a long time. Probably need to rewatch it. So I don't know if I have too many great comments to mention about it right now because I haven't seen it in years. But I would highly recommend it.
Nice. That's awesome. And nice to have a documentary on the list.
I
Um,
got two. I got another one.
oh shoot.
Yeah.
Genius. This guy's a
Originally I was gonna cheat and I was gonna do for each one documentary and one narrative, and I was just gonna cheat and have 10 movies. But I decided to play by the rules.
that would have been crazy. That wow. That would have been that
It's the Mind Your Movie podcast. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
yeah, that's true. We can together.
If I can turn a top 5 into a top 10, I'll do it.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, this is not a documentary, but my next one is it pretends to be a documentary. Um I'm talking about Shirley Clark's 1961 kind of new American cinema movie called The Connection. And I would say it's not very well known or very well seen, unfortunately, compared to uh, other stuff in like the New American Wave. Um, and it's really, really fascinating. It is, well, okay, I'm going to tell you the selling point that sold me first, and this is not going to sell everyone, but it's technically the first found footage movie.
Nice.
But hold on, hear me out. It's not a horror movie. It is it pretends to, or it says that it's footage put together by a director and cameraman that go in to record the life of um uh an apartment of full of people that are addicted to drugs who are trying to get drugs from a connection that they have. And so the whole movie waits and kind of tensions build as they're all waiting. And the camera person and the director, particularly the director, really tries to, not the director of the movie, the director in the movie, tries to like instigate like speeches, instigate normality at times, and kind of paradoxically also instigate like speeches and talking into the camera and stuff at times. And again, like tries to pretend like he wants to capture the real people, but then shines a huge light at them at times when they're like clearly don't want that, right? And it's a really interesting movie because it brings up that whole idea of like people at the edge of society and people and how do we treat them, and how does the what is a documentarian's role, right? And how much should they be involved in what they're actually recording. And it's a really interesting movie, and I think it's really powerful in this era of cinema because it actually helped change like censorship laws in the US because of its content, but also they say shit a lot, and there's like a porno mag at one point. So people didn't want to like distribute and publish the movie, so it went to court.
All right, I'm sold.
Yeah, the porno mag.
I wasn't gonna watch it, but as soon as you mentioned the porno mag, I was like, all right, fine, I'll watch it. No, I've never seen this, but I've heard of it, and it seems pretty fascinating.
Yeah, and it's definitely like a counter to Hollywood thing, right? This is like the start of new American cinema, so it's like kind of counter.
It's before.
Yeah, right. It's like at the beginning of like new French New Wave cinema, really. But
yeah,
because New American kind of follows that, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's super early for this type of thing to be like so challenging, and because of that, it also didn't do well at the time. It did like win over the censorship battle in court, but then it was not very well received, and it's been pretty hard to watch for a long time. But it is now. There's a Blu-ray out of it, which is awesome. But I think you might be able to rent it or find it online otherwise. But
it's on the Criterion channel, I believe. So I'll probably end up watching it at some point, hopefully. But yeah, I have not seen this one, but it seems pretty fascinating.
Yeah, and one of the things that Shirley Clark says about making the movie is that um, the movie has it has one female in it, and it's not a very like uplifting role or anything, right? It's not like not a very feminist movie in that sense, but it is. She thinks a very feminist movie because she feels aligned or felt aligned at the time to people on the edge of society that society doesn't treat correctly or treat the same and stuff like that. So it's kind of an interesting application of that feeling to a different group, right? And I think that's really interesting. So
yeah, nice, cool. I'll have to check that out at some point. I guess we'll move on to my number two. My number two is another documentary. I also limited this to one movie per director. Otherwise, she might have had multiple movies on the top five. But it's The Gleaners and I by Agnes Varda. Also from the year 2000, actually. I said 2002 earlier, but it's also from 2000. And yeah, this is also a very personal documentary. It's like Agnes is following these people who are gleaners, basically after fields have been like harvested. They go through and they try to find any, vegetables or it seems like mainly potatoes. There's a lot of focus on potatoes in the movie, but they try to get the vegetables that have been left behind, the ones that are a little fucked up, sort of actually like The Connection. It's sort of the outcasts of society, the outcasts of potatoes, and they glean them. They use them in different ways, and the movie's about it is about waste and reusing things, and also people who are on the edges of society. But it's also a really personal exploration of aging and just where Agnes is in her life at this time. And also it's all shot on digital cameras. It's from the year 2000, so it's an example of like early digital filmmaking and the ways the freedom that it gives filmmakers to film so much more and not worry about having to reload the can every 10 minutes or whatever. So yeah, it's a really great movie, and definitely an interesting sort of look at, because Agnes Varda, especially later in her career, made a lot of these personal sort of documentary portraits where you could see her personality. And I think this is sort of the beginning of that stage in her career. Actually, not really. I mean, she did some before, like in the 80s and 90s, but I don't know. It's kind of a shift into this late stage of her career of these very personal, sort of autobiographical documentaries that are also about certain things, but it's also about her as the creative person that's making it. So yeah, definitely worth watching. She's probably one of my favorite directors, just period. and has a really great filmography that stretches over like 60 years. And yeah, this is, I would definitely recommend people check this out.
Nice. And yeah, she's back in that French New Wave time, right? I think
Yeah,
the
she's like one of the first French New Wave movies, is La Pointe Courte.
and I think the like I want to say from my not particularly educated perspective on this that I think like French New Wave and American New Wave cinema, like these new uh, uh kind of counterculture type of cinema that was coming out to like con to kind of go against what the expected movie should look like at the time. I think opened up the world to female directors more positively, right? I can't think of. I'm sure there's probably female directors before, uh, but I feel like it gives more of an outlet to people that maybe wouldn't normally have been sponsored by Hollywood, right? Because it's also bigger in like the independent sense too. But
Yeah, I could see that. I think Agnes Varda is one of the, I don't know. There aren't a lot of female directors from around this time. I feel like around the 90s with like uh that era of independent cinema, there was a lot more that was like there was the queer new wave, and I feel like there was a lot more female filmmakers in that time. I still think Agnes Varda was very early in being one of, she's like really the only female director in the French New Wave of like the main people, at least
yeah,
that I can think of off the top of my head. So yeah, and I feel like New Hollywood or whatever is very male centric for the most part.
yeah, you're
And
probably
it,
right.
but it's
Yeah,
still sort of opening up the world to different people. And it's not, I mean, I feel like Agnes Varda was very overlooked in the French New Wave for a long time. It was like Godard and Truffaut are the guys, and they're the main ones. But really, she was like one of the first directors to make a French New Wave style movie, and was super influential. And she was married to Jacques Demy and everything, so super influential person. And yeah, her career, like she did so many different things. She made documentaries, she made narrative features, she did short films. She made movies in America and in France, and uh, yeah, just overall a fantastic career, and just seemed like a really bright, person. Just seemed like a bright, shining light in the world of just creativity and positivity, basically. So yeah.
yeah, nice, awesome. Um, I'm gonna go into a different route here for just a second, which is my number two. That's But I'm a Cheerleader, which is a 1999 movie directed by Jamie Babbitt, who's a queer female director, and it's this movie's awesome. It's it's just so good. I don't even know what to say. It's like a LGBTQ icon. Um, but the story essentially takes place with a cheerleader in high school who gets sent to a conversion therapy camp. Um, and it's the movie is this very colorful, very like Barbie colored, right? Like pastel blues and pinks and all this. And it's a comedy and satire and a love story, and it's a good drama, and it's all about coming to accept who you are, and obviously trying to draw some heartache to people about what happens in conversion therapy camps and why they aren't good. And the conversion therapy itself isn't good, right? Um, and it's a blast. It's super funny. It's like the Barbie aesthetic, and I think if anyone that likes Barbie and hasn't seen this, I think should watch it. It's so great. Yeah, that's it. I honestly don't even know how better to recommend it. There's like 1,000 quotable lines of this movie online, and uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
Natasha Lyonne is the main character, so that's a selling point. And also
there you
RuPaul is
go.
in it.
Yes, that's right.
Yes. I've seen this movie once before, and I don't know if I had high expectations or the wrong expectations, but I remember not really, the movie didn't connect with me. And maybe I have to give it a second chance. But yeah, I remember being a little let down by it, so it wasn't on my top five, but I could definitely I think it's a little more like goofy than I expected. Like it's a very
Oh yeah,
campy, uh, you know, tone.
Definitely, it is definitely a can't be telling. It's definitely not something like, yeah, it's definitely a very unserious movie, right? But it does have some very serious themes too, which is awesome. And I think I think it's very obvious why like a lot of the LGBTQ community has like latched onto it, right? Not only because it's made by a really amazing lesbian filmmaker, but also because it is very overtly gay at a time when we didn't have as many movies about being overtly gay, right? So
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Good recommendation. And now I guess on to my number one. My number one is from another one of my favorite directors, Kelly Reichardt. It's Showing Up, which is actually her most recent movie. Uh, and yeah, it's a movie that seems pretty autobiographical to some degree, probably influenced by her own life. But Michelle Williams plays the main character, and she's an artist and who works at a college in I think it's in Oregon. Pretty sure, like most of her movies take place in Oregon. Uh, and yeah, it's just a uh, very funny and moving and poignant movie. It's very sort of quotidian, I guess, like slice of life, just kind of everyday life. But there's a lot of, I think that's what makes it so great is that there is so much poignancy in this everyday setting, like sort of finding the profundity in everyday life to a certain degree, and also just like laughing at the absurdity of it and the hardships and all that. But yeah, it's a really great movie. Also, Andre 3000 is in it. He's playing a character who I don't know. I mean, he might as well be playing himself. If he was walking around just playing the flute in scenes, like it wouldn't even seem out of place. Um, but yeah, he's awesome, and it's a very I don't know. It's also just like such an easy watch. You can kind of just throw it on and enjoy it. The cinematography is really beautiful, and her whole filmography is really great. There's like Meek's Cutoff. There's Old Joy. Certain Women. First Cow is really great. Like all of her movies, and Night Moves too. I love Night Moves. Uh, just really great. Just a really great director. Kind of feels like to me sort of like an American version of Abbas Kiarostami with that sort of like very simple uh everyday life. Well, the subject matter is usually about sort of everyday life and average normal people to some degree, but also the filmmaking is like pretty simple and bare bones, and it's not like overly showy. There's no crazy, 5 minute one take through the trenches in Paths of Glory, or it's not like super showy like that. But yeah, I love Kelly Reichardt, and I decided to go with Showing Up as my number one, even though a bunch of her movies could have made the list.
awesome, nice, very very awesome. Um, my number one is also by an extremely prominent female director, Agnes Varda.
Nice.
Yeah, so I don't need to introduce her. We've already talked a little about her, but I'm picking Cleo from 5 to 7, which is a 90-minute movie that takes place over 90 minutes from 5 to 6:30. Not to
5 to 7 takes.
And it's in real time theoretically. So, we're watching her go through this hour and a half while she's waiting for news from a doctor. And there's all this anxiety going around her head of like, what if she gets bad news from the doctor? What if the test gives bad results, right? Stuff like this. And there's a lot of really interesting. She's like a singer, I think a pop singer or something.
Yep.
The main actor, and for like a good part in the beginning of the movie, she's like very focused on self, and then the second half of the movie, she's like very focused on outside and stuff. And so it's very interesting. I think there's a lot that you can draw from the movie. It's part of this obviously French New Wave style and genre. So it's amazing. It's I've only just watched it for the first time. Preparing for this episode, I was like, I should cross this off my list. It's been on my list for so long. I own it. I might as well watch it. And it was phenomenal. It might be one of my favorite dramas of all time, if you want to call it a drama. I guess it's a drama for sure, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
it's amazing. I can't
yeah,
recommend it more strong. It's so great.
yeah. Absolutely fantastic movie. It's tough to pick. She has so many great movies, but I decided, yeah. But Clear from 5 to 7 is really fantastic.
Well, I'm glad you picked one of her other ones because then I
Yeah.
still got to talk about Cleo from 5 to 7. So we actually ended up the only director on here that we both mentioned and that
Mm.
it's mentioned twice at all, Agnes Varda. So excellent. That's amazing. Um,
Yes. There we go. Cool. All right. Well, I guess
nice.
that's our top five.
Yeah. Um,
Do
I have a
should we talk
couple
about
of just
some?
like, yeah, honorable mentions, right? Why not? Um, one honorable mention I want to throw out just kind of right away is uh, just a director who is Elise Guy-Blaché, and I think people should just watch some of her stuff. It's she's made a bunch of short films, kind of at the dawn of cinema when like the Lumiere brothers and Edison and Porter were all making early movies. And she has a bunch of fun ones. Actually, Shane and I spent some time together a while ago now, but watching some on a Blu-ray that I have. Uh, and her shorts, I mean, they're short, they're fun, and she's kind of a very the earliest female director and one of the earliest narrative directors at all. So uh, I think people that haven't seen any of her stuff should go ahead, check some out.
Yes.
Yeah, they're all
I
you can find tons of her stuff that's still surviving online. So just check some out.
Yes. I would recommend the Consequences of Feminism, which is her sort of like satire about sort of swapped gender roles and pretty brilliant movie. It's from like 1906, but it's very extremely ahead of its time.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm kind of cheating here because I'm not recommending a movie, but there you go. There's one movie recommendation
Yeah.
specifically, but also I'm just recommending anything from her, if
Yeah.
nothing else, because she's the very first female director, and her stuff is fantastic. And like I said, really one of the first, arguably. There's a wonderful documentary about her too. That's voiced by, who is it that is the narrator in it? I forget now, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. But wonderful documentary from not too long ago that I would also recommend if I can remember the name of it. So maybe I'll look that up. But
You can look it up. If you Google Alice
yeah,
Guy-Blaché documentary, I'm sure it'd pop up.
yeah, you'll find.
Yeah. Well, I have a shitload of honorable mentions. A few, well, there's The Ascent, directed by Larissa Shepitko, one of the all-time great war movies, I think. It's about Soviet soldiers in World War II. It's a Soviet film. And she only made a few films before she died. I think it was in a car accident when she was like 40. I think she was only like 40. Uh, so pretty tragic. She was married to the director Ilem Klimov, who did Come and See, and he actually made a documentary about her. So that's also probably worth checking out if you want to learn more about her. But The Ascent is a really fantastic war movie. The House is Black, directed by Farrokhzad, uh, the Iranian poet. It's a short film, only movie she ever directed, but it's about a leper colony in Iran in the 60s. Really brilliant short film. I just have so many movies here. I already mentioned The Matrix, Point Break. Come on, I mean,
Yeah,
it was really tough to not put that on the top five, but it's such a good movie.
Point
Uh,
Break definitely ended up on my narrowed down list. Also, that it was hard to cancel it out. It's great.
nice.
Yeah,
Yes, and then honestly, all of Greta Gerwig's, like she only has like three movies. Well, I guess she like co-directed a movie that I actually haven't seen, but the three movies that she's directed on her own, all really great. Bound is the Wachowskis' first movie, which is really great. Also, Speed Racer is just like a completely insane, like visual ADHD, totally one of a kind movie that people should check out if they haven't seen it. Uh, and then I also just wanted to say Claire Denis is a really great director. High Life and Beau Travail are probably my favorites of hers that I've seen. I haven't seen all of her movies, but those are my favorites that I've seen. Uh, okay, and then a few other movies. Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. Great movie, a drama about abortion. Very sad, but very good. Zola, not as sad. Very fun. Fun movie, high on the fun scale. I recommend that. The Nightingale, low on the fun scale. Not a fun movie. Actually, a movie I'd probably never watch again. There's a really horrific sexual assault scene in it that's very hard to see. But then there's also some really great revenge. And yeah, it's about like an Irish, uh, what's the word, indentured servant in Australia in the 1800s, I believe. And she goes on a mission to get revenge, basically. And it's pretty fantastic movie that I may never watch again for the rest of my life. And the
That's
last movie,
I like this idea of a fun scale, by the way. Like this movie has
yes,
it rates high on the fun scale. This movie is so low, I would never watch it again, but you should watch it. That's a very rational thing. That's yeah, we should
yes,
rank more things on a fun scale at times.
I like that. I stole that is stolen from the film vault. Shout out to Brian Bishop on the film vault. He, high on the fun scale. He loves movies that are high on the fun scale. So I've taken that from them, and that's art. You know what I mean? That's what Tarantino says, right? You got to steal, whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
The last movie I wanted to mention was Happy as Lazaro, which is on Netflix, directed by Alice Rohrwacher. I don't know if maybe it's Alice or something like that. She's Italian, but she directed that. It's on Netflix. Really great movie. And Les Pupilles, she also directed, which is a short film that I think is on Disney Plus. And I would recommend watching that around Christmas. So there's the shitload of movies that I wanted to name off.
Nice.
And there you go. Mission accomplished.
Excellent. I'm going to mention just a few more. I'm not going to mention quite as many, but I do want to just mention a few that I think are worth checking out for people. A couple of maybe iconic ones, Clueless and Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia is a great musical, and Clueless is just a lot of fun. I think both those movies, they're very well known. I'm sure people know, but if you've never heard of them, check them out. They're both wonderfully made, and just a lot of fun. The Babadook is a great recent horror movie directed by a female, and I think it also is one that like just blew up online. So I think many people know about it or know of it, but if anyone's maybe heard of it and wasn't sure if they wanted to watch it, I would recommend. And you know, yeah, I would recommend it. So just check it out. I think it's a good watch. Definitely on the scarier side and worth watching. Another one that's more recent is Rose Glass's Love Lies Bleeding, which stars. Is this one that was close on your list?
That was also on my list. I didn't mention it, but I wanted to mention Rose Glass because Saint Maud and Love Lies Bleeding are both really great movies.
Yeah, Love Lies Bleeding follows Kristen Stewart and her partner, and as like there's this bodybuilding competition drive up, and that all culminates with ideas of identity and sexuality and stuff and family that all piles up, and it's very exciting and very crazy and sad and it varies on the fun scale. I would say at times it's very high on the fun scale, at times it's very very low on the fun scale.
I think it's pretty high on the fun scale. It's a great thriller.
Yeah,
I think. I don't think it's very. I don't know. I don't think it's too depressing or anything like that.
No, I don't think it's too depressing. Yeah,
it gets violent. It gets there's. I guess it's not for kids. You know what I mean. But if you're an adult that likes a thriller, this is a great movie.
Yeah, definitely. And the last one. Well, I'll say I was also going to mention Barbie, but you already mentioned Greta Gerwig, and The Substance was on my list as well. But I'll also lastly mention Sissy, which is a 2022 horror movie that might be a Shudder exclusive. That's co-directed by Hannah Barlow.
Oh, there you go, Barlow.
About it's like a thriller. It's like a spooky thriller about a
spooky thriller. A spooky thriller is just a horror.
Yeah, whatever.
That's just. I mean, come on, a spooky thriller.
As a kind of social media influencer, I guess, kind of ends up at this weekend getaway with a bunch of other people, and stuff ends up getting kind of crazy as she has trouble with people, and it's wild. I think I recommend it. It's kind of crazy. It's all over the place, and it's a good revenge. Well, there's a lot of revenge in the movie. I don't know, so you're not always rooting for it sometimes. I don't know, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, as as Liam Neeson told us in The Naked Gun, revenge is the greatest feeling you could ever feel.
That's right. That's right. Speaking of, I mean, that's the end of our um, honorable mentions and our top 5 list. If y'all liked some of those, if you've seen some of them, let us know. If you haven't, watch them.
Yeah. Check them out, but also tell us what we missed. Comment, go on our YouTube, go on our Reddit, tell us what we missed.
Yes, exactly. Listen, we're trying to sift through so many movies, so many amazing movies here, and it's very hard to pick out top 5. So please tell us what yours are. But also, Shane brought up The Naked Gun, and this is a good time to say that next week we have an episode coming out that will be on the new Naked Gun movie, the one that's pretty much just hit theaters, I think, last week at this point, when this episode's coming out. And it'll feature that and Black Dynamite in our parodies episode. So we're looking at movies that are parodies of genres or other movies, in this case, genres. But so I think we're both pretty excited to talk about those movies. So it'll be a fun.
Yeah. I'm excited to rewatch Black Dynamite.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
Me too. And we won't say anything about it yet, but we both have already seen The Naked Gun. So I think we're excited to talk about that too.
Yes.
So make sure you join in the fun next week.
We should each eat like 5 chili dogs during the episode and like see if we can survive or if we shit our pants.
Yeah, but no matter what, when you come back to the screen, you have to be eating more chili dogs. You just always have to be eating chili dogs.
We should do that. By the end of the episode, we have to have finished 5 chili dogs.
I'm not opposed to that idea. That's kind of crazy, but we could.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. All right,
throw a little wrench in the thing.
Yeah, sure,
get a little something crazy going on. Maybe one of us will shit our pants on the episode.
Yeah, and if you don't get that reference yet, it's because you haven't seen The Naked Gun or the trailers. Because why not give away all the jokes in the trailers?
They did, yeah. So, they did do that a little bit.
I will say the movie. I did not mean anything negative about that. Please see the movie. Please see the movie. It's great. And we want to talk about it. And you can you'll hear spoilers. So please see the movie before you listen to us talk about it. But
yes. And if you haven't, go listen to the episode of Come Town when Adam shits his pants, because it's a really good episode and it's very funny.
There you go. That might be us next week.
That's the peak of podcasting. So we're trying to do it, because if you can have one guy shit his pants on a podcast, what's better than that? 2 guys shitting their pants on a podcast.
This will be the only podcast you'll ever listen to where there's a chance that no, I'm done.
There's a it's the suspense. Are we gonna survive? Will we throw up onto our microphones?
This is getting grotesque. So in the meantime, y'all know how to find us. Please, if you haven't jumped onto our Reddit yet, a lot of people are jumping on there now, and we encourage everyone to. That's a great place to just talk about movies, invite your friends, even if they don't listen to the podcast. But also share them the podcast. Send them your favorite episode. Send them our Instagram page. Send them our letterbox is a great one because we have links to everything right there.
Yes, and the Reddit is r/mindyourmovies. Very simple.
Right. We don't even mention the podcast in the name because again, it's just about the movies, right? Yes. I mean, also tell us your thoughts on our podcast too. What are your favorite female-directed movies? What did we do wrong here? What did we talk about that you didn't like?
When's the last time you shit your pants?
Yeah, populate the Reddit with that, please. Please.
r/mindyourmovies, a subreddit about sharding.
Yes, I'm gonna change the description.
Hell yeah!
All right. In the meantime,
don't forget to mind your movies. I should have